Oh, hey, you cute little squid, how's it going? So last time on our MT03 build series, beginner bike giveaway series, or whatever you want to call it, we did sprockets, a new slip-on exhaust system, made the MT03 just a little bit more spicy. But today, we're going to be doing a little bit more to it. We actually have Leo Vinci sent us out a full exhaust system for this machine. So we've got the full system here, ready to install, and we're also going to be putting on some new pads and some fresh fluids on it as well. Stick around. So in case you live under a rock, I think a lot of you live under rocks, and I keep having to tell you, we're giving away this MT03. We got an SV650X, a Sparkpill 401, 2 Groms. We've got a Harley as part of another giveaway, and a Yamaha R1. So if you want to win a free motorcycle, click the link down below, go to yammie.co. I've seen a lot of questions on Instagram and on comments and DMs and all that saying, how do I sign up to win these bikes? Go to yammie.co. Do it. Why, what are we doing today?
Well, I'm not going to say the words, this is going to be an easy install, because I'm not going to curse us.
Absolutely.
However, we are replacing the slip-on exhaust that we've had for all of one ride. It's now old and busted. And we're going to put a full system exhaust on here, which is going to not really make a huge difference power-wise. I do think it is going to give us a very good sound bypassing the catalytic converter. I'm also really interested to see how a new set of pads and fresh fluid will help the front brake feel, because the front brake feels pretty trash.
Yeah, it's really not that great on the MT03. That's a common complaint that I've had and other owners of these platforms have had. And I think a simple little pad and fluid flush is going to go a long, long way. So let's get started.
Let's do it.
So guys, this is why we tell you the virtues of working on a naked bike as your first bike, or as any street bike really. I mean, we're already almost taking this thing fully down and it's been 5 minutes.
Yeah, right? The headers are already completely undone.
Headers are completely undone. All we have to do is unbolt that little bit right over here for the end of the can here, and then this whole thing will just come right out. Get a naked bike. It is tremendous.
This whole thing is about to come out. I just gotta get this screw out.
I gotta finagle it under this.
I'm pretty sure it goes there.
Oh no, that way, yeah.
Yeah, because it was at a weird angle. The number of exhausts that we've installed that have needed mechanical persuasion.
Yeah.
So a quick reminder, if you're doing a full system like this, don't send one of these bolts to torque and then not do the other one. You want to do a little bit on one side and a little bit on the other, and evenly press that header onto the actual engine itself. That way you get a good seal on your gasket. So a little bit at a time, work all 4 bolts, and then just finish them out one at a time.
All right guys, we just finished up putting the new exhaust on the MT03. Ridiculously easy install. I think it took us 12 minutes or something like that. Really nice fitment on this Leo Vinci full system. It's probably gonna sound really good. Before we get it on the road, we've got to fix the brakes on the MT03. So let's dive in. All right guys, for our brake upgrade on the MT03, we're going with these EBC Sport pads. We're not doing any track day pads on our sweet little MT03 here. And we're also gonna swap out for some Super DOT 4. The reason why you wanna swap out the fluids on your braking system is to allow it for a higher temperature range to operate. So these should give us better feel, and these should give us better stopping performance, which are the 2 things that we wanna fix on this MT03. So we're gonna show you how to do that today. So first thing you want to do to get your brakes upgraded is, of course, take off your caliper. So guys, the MT03 has what is known as pin style brake calipers. So as you see, I took off these 2 little cotter pins here that held in place the 2 pins that ring around this master caliper right here. These are a bit different than higher end braking systems in that they don't have the little clip that holds it all in place here at the back. So all you have to do with the new calipers is just slide them in here, push it through the pin over here with this big plate, and then put the cotter pins back in. It's a pretty easy setup, little challenging to get it off sometimes. One thing you don't want to do when you're servicing your brakes is actually pull this brake lever while you have the pads not on the caliper, or just not connected at all, because it's really, really bad for your braking system. So make sure you do not touch your front lever while you're servicing your brakes.
So the last step today is going to be bleeding the fluid in these lines. Now, bleeding your brakes is a really simple job, but it's easy to misunderstand the order of operations because there's a very specific thing you have to do. And it really helps to have a tool like this. This is a one-way brake bleeding valve, which will let fluid out, but not back in. So all you do is you just uncap the little bleeder nipple here and just seat it on there. And then you are going to go through a very monotonous, very repetitive series of steps, which we will show you right now. So once you get this all set up down here, you need to uncap your front reservoir. Now, brake fluid is nasty stuff. So what you want to do is you want to unscrew this and then take a little shop rag, cut a hole in it, and set it on top of everything that you care about, like a bib, because brake fluid will eat at paint, and it's really nasty stuff. So like I said, this stuff is nasty stuff. I can actually already feel it heating up my gloves. It's just eating away at the rubber. And what you want to do is have a little funnel so you pour the fluid in as you slowly bleed it off. Now the order of operations is you crack the bolt just a little, squeeze the lever, and then pour more in, close the bolt, and then you can release the lever. If you do it out of that order, you're not gonna move any fluid and it's gonna be a nightmare. So it's crack, squeeze, close, release. So while you're doing this, a main thing that you need to remember is not to suck any air through this brake system. So you always wanna top it off before you get to the point where you're gonna suck air. If you squeeze air into this, you're gonna lose all your pressure and you're gonna have to start over. And it's a pain in the butt. Trust me, it's worth just pouring in more times than it is to just squeeze all of the air out of the brake system.
I think everyone's tried to do brakes at some point and squeeze a little bit of air in there, and then it's no fun.
Yeah, it's really no fun.
No fun.
Last point I want to mention is as you bleed out brake fluid, you're going to see the color in this little tube change from dark amber, think like dehydrated urine or honey, and it'll go to basically like a very nice, clear, almost like Sprite color.
So guys, we just finished up all the install. Got the brand new full exhaust system. We pulled this big beefy boy off of there. Certainly saved a couple of pounds because it really matters on this motorcycle. And the thing I'm most excited about, we're about to go take this bike out, is this front brake feel. It feels so much better, don't you think?
Yeah, no, just feeling it here in the shop, it's a lot more progressive. You can actually get some feel. You know when the pads are actually hitting the rotor. Feels very good now.
Yeah, I'm sure coming from a stop, it's gonna be great. So let's get out on the road and see what it's like. Alrighty folks, we're heading out here on the MT03 with its brand new full exhaust system and its new brakes. And I gotta tell you, even though we've got a nice bassy tone on this bike now, it's sounding really good. I think it's definitely an improvement over the slip-on. For me, the biggest improvement is gonna be these brakes. Man, it's a huge, huge difference. Even in the shop, you can feel it. God, it's so nice. But Spike, you can hear the Spike pretty good now, can't you?
Oh yeah, totally. When you get on it, I can hear it, and it's not droning either. Like I can't hear you over the sound of the Harley and the wind, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's my opinion on exhausts is you want to hear it when you doing stuff. If you're throttle open, trying to go, that's when you want to hear it. And otherwise, you just want it to be like a subtle, low drone that you don't really hear all that much.
And that's exactly what I'm getting on this Leo pipe. You get that nice, kind of subtle, very quiet drone, and then if I open it up, you start hearing it a little bit. It has this awesome kind of, poppy, burbly, crackly thing that it does when you get off throttle. It's really, really nice. It actually reminds me a lot of our Ninja 400 endurance bike, which is a race bike, which is really a high praise for this little machine.
How's the throttle feel for you?
It's pretty good. I think if we were to, just keep throwing more money and time at this bike, we could put a R6 throttle tube and get a fuel map on here, and then it would just be absolutely perfect. But man, for bone stock, for putting a full system on, it's coping very, very well, I gotta say.
That's good. It's always kind of tough when you put a new exhaust on and you can feel it kind of be lurchy and not very smooth.
You remember the Street Triple did that a little bit.
Yeah, that was in one of those kind of faster power modes too. But it's nice to just be able to put something fun on your bike and not have to worry about spending another couple $100 on it.
Absolutely.
I mean, would you eventually want to tune it? Of course. But could you run it like this for a little while? Sure.
And one thing I was mentioning on the way down here, and I think I want to talk about it again, is the experience I'm having right now where I can rev this little bike out to 12,000 RPM. I get a lot of feedback from the exhaust. The brakes feel nice. This is such a great package for a starter motorcyclist. This gives you all the fundamentals. It just feels so cool to ride. It looks great. This is such an appropriate and awesome machine for entry-level riders. And it sounds pretty good when you get on it. That's plenty of speed to have fun with. I kind of like the way it pulls. It's a fun little bike.
Yeah, it is, but you also have to remember that we threw quite a bit of effort, time, and coin into making that bike good, you know. It was pretty anemic when we first got it.
Totally. Like, we have thrown, if you didn't count, you know, parts that we got as part of sponsorships and that sort of stuff, we've easily thrown at least $1,600 at this motorcycle.
Yep.
Just to make it about as good as a Duke 390, in my opinion. Is it, you know, it's about as punchy now. It feels great. It's lovely to ride. I'm gonna hang a left up here and make a Yammie. And, you know, it's a really nice bike to ride, but again, like, you could just go to your local KTM dealership or your Husqvarna dealership, they're probably right next to each other, and pick up a Duke 390 or a Svartpullen, and those bikes are really good for the price. And we had to do a lot to make this bike be just as good as one of those.
And they're very involved processes, what we've done.
Yeah, we put on a full system. We bled and did the brakes and swapped the pads. We put on a brand new chain and sprocket, right? Like, we've done a whole lot to this machine. Now, I do want to get you on this bike and have you feel these brakes, because they are so much better.
Yes, I do want to feel it.
Because I know that we both felt that they were pretty crappy. And if I must ride our giveaway Harley, I guess I will.
Get a feel for the new rubber. I honestly think it feels pretty darn good now.
Yeah, no, this bike's fine. It is what it is. I've consigned myself to my fate.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Every time I ride this thing, I check my boot about 50 times.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, that is a good brake feel right now.
So much better, isn't it?
Yup.
It's a peppy little thing, isn't it?
This thing's great now. It really feels good. Oh man, that front brake feel is so much better. Before you had to like yank it all the way to the lever or all the way to the bar, and
it gave you such bad feelings through the lever. Like, it was so wooden and stiff, you know.
This is now a bike that I can have fun with, and I loathed getting on this machine before. In stock form, I really did not like it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Bone stock, the MT03 it's a pretty tough bike to get along with. Even more so than the R3. I feel like the R3, stock for stock, just for some reason felt a little bit nicer than the MT03. But now I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it feels great. Just all of the feedback feels like a torquey little motorcycle. Definitely fits the MT styling. It's just so much better. And that front brake, great. Okay, we put a really nice pipe on there. But the front brake feel is worth everything we did to this bike.
Right? That's what I was saying. Like, you get on it and the pipe is great and you get that sound, but the front brake, I think, is honestly like an essential MT03 mod. Every MT03 owner needs to get some nice pads and fluid flush because it helps so much. But again, the KTM feels like that from the factory.
Yeah, but I mean, of all the things we did, the brakes...
That was the cheapest.
They're the cheapest.
That was under $100 in like 30 minutes in the shop, you know?
Okay.
It likes to party.
It does. I let that clutch out a little quick in second gear and the whole bike just went forward underneath me. That was fun.
That is probably the most aggressive sprocket setup I would put on that bike. Anything else and all of a sudden you have a stunt bike, because it's still rideable. I think a lot of people, it's gonna be this left. I think a lot of people were like, oh, you know, you can't ride that bike anymore on the street. It's too aggressive. It's just about as aggressive as I'd like, honestly. It's really, really nice.
And you also got to think about the use case for a bike like this. I mean, this bike is for being in the city. Could you take it on the highway? Sure, but it doesn't feel
It's not a
good.
highway muncher. Absolutely not, yeah. Harley feels so much better flicking through these corners, though. Actually feels like a real bike.
And for people who are wondering about the sprockets, this thing's still plenty fast. You know, it can do the highway no problem.
Yeah, it'll still get up to about 85 to 90 miles per hour. I saw a couple comments being like, oh, you know, where I live here in Florida or Texas, it's like you need something that does at least 100, otherwise you get run off the road. And that just simply is not true. That's just absolutely not true. You and I both live here in Austin, and you don't need to go 100. If you're going 100 on the highway, you're really overdoing it.
If that were the case, everybody in America would ride a Hayabusa.
Maybe that's how foreigners see us. They're just like, everyone has a Hayabusa there. Our international audience is like, yep, they're all Busa boys.
That's just Florida.
Yeah, Florida's the land of the Busa boy. Damn, you got to look back on your MT.
They probably were laughing at how small the bike is and how big I am. Or maybe they were looking at you with your dual sport helmet on and your you know, dirt boy gloves and your fancy Italian jacket on a Harley Davidson.
They were probably very confused. This is probably the most ATGAT anyone's ever been riding a 883. I know we had the $10,000 Grom meme, but now we're inching up our way to a $10,000 MT03 meme. We'll get some Rosso 3s on there, get our RCS 17. What else? Brembo caliper up front, R6 throttle tube.
Full tune, have
Full
it dynoed.
tune, have it dynoed. Make 48.9 horsepower to the rear wheel.
Go up to that 52 toother so you can actually pop some real wheelies.
Jesus.
The suspension on this could be a little bit more pulled together, but
We'll slap some Olins on it.
yeah, we could go get some Olins.
TTX rear, Olins front end. God, that'd be hilarious. So real bummer, this video is actually over, but you're in luck. There are hundreds of other Yammie Noob videos you can go and check out. Hit this one right over here. Watch it. Do it for Yammie-chan.